So hello everyone, and thank you very much for joining us for Provisionize our webinar for our new solar cellular camera. My name is Ami Feiner, and together with me is Ari Treger from our pre-sale department. This webinar is going to be about 50 minutes long. We're going to divide it into two parts. The first part is going to be a little bit of marketing and where you can find and access some of the marketing material regarding this product. And then I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Ari Treger from our pre-sale department that can explain you much more about the product, both from the technical point of view and how to assemble it, how to operate, what kind of feature we can have, and what is the benefits of this product. Starting with a few things about marketing. If you are here, it's because you received an email from Provision ISR with some information about marketing kit for the new solar camera, where you can find a lot of information. Solar camera is a new product from Provision ISR. I'm going to talk about it in a minute. But in the marketing kit, you can find a lot of information from videos to technical sheets to social media posts, product brief, of course, posters, logos, leaflet, email advertises, camera pictures. You just click the relevant folder, for example, picture, and you can get all kind of pictures of the different elements of the product from different angles, whether it's images, whether it's social media posts, and so on and so on and so on. A lot of information that can help you market the product. Officially, the product is going to be released in about 2 to 3 weeks. Officially released means that right now in this webinar is our direct partners, and thank you for joining us. Officially released means that we're going to upload it to our website. That's going to be in about 2 weeks, where you will find both the product and a technology page about it. So a technology page basically look exactly like you see here, where the customer can find a little bit more information about the product. They can see a movie about the product, very nice marketing movie about the product that explain very short and very accurate about the solution. As you all know, the product solar camera is basically a product that is harness the power of the sun in order to give power to the battery. And this is going to be a very smart product. We are very excited about it. And of course, cellular connectivity using a 4G SIM card. We're going to give much more information. Sorry. Once again, I haven't shared my screen. Ari, you should tell me, not write me. Okay, so again, this is the landing page of the website, and I'm sure that now you can see my screen. Landing page for the website, marketing materials. As I mentioned before, you can find a lot of information on the folder that you received with content regarding videos, tech sheets, social media banners, images, email advertises, leaflet, logos, poster to be printed to put on your offices and shops. So anything you need is available for you and accessible for everyone to be used, whether it's just images or different content. So I'm sorry I haven't seen a screen shared my screen before, but now you can see all of it. And officially, as I said, the product is going to be released in our website in about 2 weeks, where we're going to add the product themselves and a technology page, as you can see here. So what is this product about in a nutshell, before I hand it over to my colleague? 4G solar camera. So basically a camera that harnesses the power of the sun in order to get power and use cellular connectivity, 3G and 4G, for network connectivity. This is a very smart camera. The design of it is very interesting. For example, one of the things that you will hear today, that the solar panel itself doesn't require direct sunlight. It's actually just require the daylight. You can even put it under a shade, and it still be powered and still charge the battery, which is very smart. Plus, you will see much more feature about how smart we make the battery efficient to last it as long as, to stretch it to as long as we can. Some of the key technologies we implemented inside this product are first DDA. So yes, the camera can do analytic and distinguish between human beings, two-wheel car and four-wheel car, and alert you. Secondly, we have incorporated the smart alert, the active deterrence solutions. So onboard flash and sound that act as a onboard active deterrence in case of an alert. And of course, we also introduced the color night vision, the rainbow technology. So color at night, and we'll see some of it. Some of the highlight features we can discuss and we will see today. So maybe the number one is how efficient the power management is. We have designed a product that is basically using something between 1 to 3% of battery per hour. Please understand that we're talking about a product that can actually last and work 3-4 days straight just by the power of the battery, even without charging the battery. And this is thanks to a lot of technologies we have embedded inside, and Ari is going to explain some of it. And like I said, the solar panel itself doesn't require direct sunlight. Just daylight is enough. So even if it's a dark country, we have colleagues here from Germany and other country, when you don't, unfortunately, you don't get a lot of sunny days, then yes, even in your countries, yeah, the solar panel will know how to charge the battery enough. When it comes to connectivity, the product itself is a 3G, 4G product, and we'll talk a little bit more about it today. Of course, it fits any kind of weather conditions. And there are also onboard recording capabilities with SD card and MMC card and more. And the product has different working modes. My colleague is going to dive in a little bit more about it, and this is only for the target of use the battery as efficient as we can. So there are continuous working mode and sleep mode, which is very interesting, and more information that the customer can find on this landing page. Naturally, some of the application we can think of for this kind of product. So first one comes in mind is farms and agriculture market. If we talk about farmers and such, so they have equipment such as tractors and others, or all kind of material that they, and usually it's being located in location when they don't have power and they don't have landline internet, and therefore a product like this is perfect for this kind of application. But there are other applications that you can think of. For example, industrial sites, very much needed for this kind of product, whether it's live events that are being set up for a few days, and again, maybe they don't have power to give for cameras and Ethernet and such, then a product like this is perfect. More and more features and information that the customer can receive here, and you will have access to everything, including the marketing material itself. That's it for my part. Let's move on to hear a little bit more from the presentation about this product itself, about how it works, how does it look. By the way, at the end of this seminar, if you have any question in between, feel free to write it on the chat. I'll ask on behalf of all of you at the end of this seminar. Plus, at the end of the seminar, we will allow to open your microphones and ask as well. In the meantime, during the seminar, just ask your question at the bottom of the menu of the Zoom. You can find chat box. Just write the question in the chat, and we'll be asking on behalf of all of you. So thank you, and Ari, thank you very much. Let's start as well.
Thank you, Ami. Can you hear me and can you see my screen?
We can see your screen, we can see you as well, and we can hear you loud and clear.
Right. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining. Let's get straight to it. Let's start off by discussing the component breakdown, because essentially you are purchasing a kit. So basically, what basically constitutes this camera? So let's begin with the bracket itself. The bracket compromises a 3-axis angle design featuring a pan adjustment ranging from 0 to 360 degrees, and a tilt angle spanning from -60 to 10 degrees. So this design maximizes your flexibility, allowing precise positioning of the solar panels to optimize UV exposure wherever you are in the world. Then there's the solar panel itself, which is rated at 60 watts. Our tests have shown that it effectively charges the battery even when exposed to indirect sunlight. So as Ami mentioned earlier, we do provide you with a custom designed lithium iron phosphate battery specifically tailored for this camera. It offers various power modes, including full power, low power, and sleep modes. The special RS485 cable enables real-time monitoring of the battery percentage, which is displayed on the camera's interface, which I'll show you in a bit. It also boasts a capacity of 24 amp hours and has over 2,000 charge cycles. The battery is housed in a weatherproof enclosure for optimal protection against environmental elements. The battery pack features two connections to the camera. One is DC to power the camera, and the other is the RS485 cable used for communication. Like I said, for real-time transmission of the battery's current percentage to the camera's OSD. And lastly, there's the camera itself, designed to attach seamlessly to the wall mount or pole bracket for an easy installation and optimal positioning. All right, I want to delve into the features, and there are quite a number of features to get through. Firstly, it is IP65 rated, so it's perfect for outdoor use. The lens features a 2-inch CMOS sensor boasting a resolution of 2560 by 1440, which is basically an equivalent to a 4 megapixel. Currently, we offer this camera in a 3.6 millimeter lens. Additionally, it includes a built-in microphone for capturing audio within the camera's vicinity. As Ami mentioned, the camera is equipped with a 32 gigabyte MMC memory card. This memory card is primarily intended for snapshots rather than video storage. However, you do have the option to expand the storage with an external SD card, which can support up to 256 gigabytes on board. As the system is obviously an off-grid design, the camera features a micro SIM card slot for cellular connectivity, supporting both 3G and 4G connections. Just to note that it is a SIM card slot. It doesn't come with a built-in SIM card. You will need to purchase a SIM card from your local shops and purchase data from your local stores. The camera incorporates a full active deterrence element, such as built-in visual strobe lights and an audio speaker with the ability to set custom messages, which will obviously provide immediate deterrence upon triggering on an event. And it's obviously rainbow as well, so providing amazing color pictures day and night. Lastly, and I told you there are a lot of features, it boasts a passive infrared PIR, which has a distance of detection distance up to 15 meters, and is primarily used for two functions, okay? One, it can be used as a trigger for an event, just like you would use any AI or motion event to create a trigger. You could use the PIR as well. And number two, to awake the camera when in sleep mode, which I'll get into in a bit more detail later on. The casing is uniquely crafted from a combination of aluminium and polycarbonate, ensuring both cellular signal integrity and IP65 rated protection against harsh weather conditions. And of course, it's fully NDAA compliant. So, all right, you've purchased the camera kit, you've unboxed the camera. What next? What do you actually have to do? And I've broken it down into 5 simple steps on how to assemble the kit. So number one is you want to attach the solar panel to the bracket itself. Okay. Number two is you want to insert the battery enclosure into the bracket. And by the way, like any lithium battery, like a cell phone, it is always recommended to charge the battery before installation. Number three is securely attach both the solar panel and battery to the wall or pole mount bracket. Number four is to mount the camera onto the wall bracket. And number 5 is to do the 3 wiring connections. So the first wiring connection is from the solar panel itself to the battery to charge the battery. The second connection is from the battery to the camera to provide power to the camera. And the third connection is the RS485 cable from the battery to the camera, as mentioned, for real-time battery percentage display on the camera's OSD. Okay, so I want to talk about the initial activation and setup of this camera. While it operates like an IP camera, it's crucial to note that it's solely DC powered and does not have PoE capabilities. So to begin, it's always advisable to activate this camera like on a desk or a clean environment before installation. And for the initial activation and configuration, you can power the camera using either the provided lithium-ion battery pack in the kit or a 12-volt DC power supply. Then you want to connect the camera to a network switch, and this network switch doesn't need to be PoE, as the camera is a non-PoE camera, so a standard network switch will work fine. And lastly, you can connect your PC or laptop and utilize our IP tool manager just as you would with any other IP camera setup of ProVision ISR to complete the activation and initial configuration process. And don't forget, before you install the camera in the field, to insert the SIM card. Otherwise, you're not going to have any connectivity once installed. All right, so the camera offers various connectivity options. I want to go through them with you now. So firstly, it's tailored for the Cam2 application. And I'll show you a video of it working on the app later on in the presentation. But you can connect the camera to the app via 3 different methods, which is P2P, static IP address with the use of an APN, and also through DDNS. Secondly, it seamlessly integrates with our Osaya VMS. Our VMS doesn't require a constant stream from the camera, which makes it efficient for data and battery usage. The VMS receives event notifications, allowing you to record or set triggers within the VMS, and you can connect the camera to our VMS using the same options as the Cam2 app with the additional option of auto report. And lastly, it connects to our ProVision ISR cloud. You can access the camera via ProVision ISR cloud.com, similar to any other IP device of ours, using the P2P connection. Just log in with the serial number of the device with the username and password, and you'll have full access to the camera through our cloud interface. Okay, so the next 3 the camera can connect to. However, I must advise it's not recommended, but it's important for you to know the full capabilities of the camera. So I'm going to show you. And the reason why it's not recommended is each of the following options requires the camera to be in constant communication or constant stream, which obviously leads to like a huge amount of data usage. So, but nevertheless, the options are there if you require them. So you can connect to any of our NVRs, either via a local LAN or a static IP address with the use of an APN or DDNS. You can access the camera via a web browser, and this is not limited to Edge, Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, and Safari for Mac users. This can be done in 3 ways as well, with the local LAN, static IP address with the APN, and also via DDNS. And lastly, with the use of RTMP and RTSP, you can live broadcast the camera feeds as well. Oh, and by the way, it's OMDIV compliant, so connecting to third-party devices is an option as well. Okay, so one of the standout and crucial features are the power modes. So since this camera relies on solar energy and battery power, having customizable power modes options is essential. So users can tailor these modes according to the camera's application and the conditions of its operating environment. So I just want to enable my laser pointer. So we offer 3 different working power modes. In full power mode, all functions of the camera are operational. Our supplemental light is at full capacity, works in full capacity. Our recordings in mainstream All the events are working. Our audio alarm is at maximum capacity of 50 times per event. Our light alarm works as normal, and 4G cellular connection is on standby and sending event data constantly. In low power mode, the supplement's light or white LED light reduces to 60% in night conditions. The schedule recording reduces from mainstream to substream. And I think the next two are what most of you would be interested in as it relates to the active deterrence elements. The audio alarm still operates, but is limited to sounding up to 3 times per event, whereas in full power mode, it's 50. And the light alarm also still operates. However, it's crucial to note that only once the camera is in night mode. For example, when the natural light reduces enough to enable the white LED lights for color at night. Okay, then we've got sleep mode. Sleep mode essentially deactivates or puts to sleep all features except for the cellular connection, which remains in standby mode, and the PIR sensor, which remains fully operational. The PIR sensor serves as a trigger to awaken the camera upon detecting movement. When the camera is in sleep mode and the PIR is activated, it awakens in low power mode. During this period, any analytics or triggers or recordings, etc., that you've set up will continue to function in the low power mode state. And once the event concludes, the camera will automatically return to sleep mode. Okay, I would like to go over the triggers available for this camera, and we are soon reaching the video part of the presentation, so just bear with me. So firstly, the PIR sensor, as mentioned, can act as a trigger like any normal outdoor detector. It has camera tempering detection as well, which will obviously alert if the camera is moved or obstructed. Next, there's motion detection and item monitoring, which are both VMD or pixel-based. And lastly, it features our DDA first generation AI, capable of detecting objects like humans or vehicles, 4- or 2-wheel vehicles, based on line crossing and sterile area. Now we understand what the triggers are, what can the reactions be. So as it's an active deterrent camera, we can activate the strobe light or speaker on the camera itself. And remember, we can also put a customized message on the speaker as well. We can send an email, set video recording and snapshot recording on either the internal or external SD card. We can send a notification to the Cam2 app with further customization available within the app, which I'm going to show you in a little bit. We can send recording to an FTP server. And if paired with our VMS or NVR, events are recorded on either platform and trigger alarms, and you can trigger alarms on our VMS. Additionally, all the typical triggers available on our NVR can be utilized as well. Cool. So this leads me up to the video, and so basically I want to highlight the web GUI, as the web GUI is the recommended platform for initially configuring the camera, meaning the setting up of the analytics, the customization of the active deterrence features, adjusting the network parameters, selecting the storage modes, establishing power mode schedules, etc. So afterward, the majority of the functions can be controlled via the Cam2 app, which I'll obviously show you in a bit. So let's begin. I also want you to remember that this is a standard IP camera, but with some key differences that I would like to show you. Firstly, I want you to take a look at the bottom left, where we've got the battery percentage displayed on the OSD. It is always visible on the OSD, but I also want you to keep in mind that if you do not connect the RS485 cable, the battery percentage will consistently show 100%. Okay, as it's an active deterrent camera, we could manually activate the active deterrent light on the camera via the live view, as well as the speaker via the live view. I'm not too sure if you can hear that. And then we can also, because it's got a built-in microphone, we can activate the microphone in order to hear what's going on within the environment around the camera. Okay, so next is the config settings, and I want you to keep in mind that this camera will mainly be used with our Cam2 application. And I'd like to point out where you can locate the device ID or serial number, as this is the method will primarily use to add the camera to the Cam2 app. So you'll find this under Systems, Basic Information, where you'll see this device ID, which is the actual serial number, which you can either input manually into the Cam2 application, or you can scan the QR code, which is provided on the screen. Alternatively, the camera itself also has a QR code on the camera, so you can also scan it directly from the camera itself. So I just wanted to point that out. Another significant difference is the storage settings. So you have the option to select between recording on the internal memory card or external memory card. If you choose the external memory card, the system will automatically display the total recording capacity for that specific card. And the same will apply if you select the internal memory card. Additionally, you can customize the snapshots and video quota setting. So for instance, you might want to allocate 80% of the memory for video storage and the remaining 20%, for snapshot storage. So this flexibility allows you obviously to tailor the storage allocation based on your needs. Just give me 1 second if you don't mind. Okay. Let's delve into the power modes. Oh, my apologies. Also within the storage settings, you can also access the recording and snapshot parameters. So now we're in the recording parameter, we're able to select what stream you want to record, as well as if you want to set up pre-record time, pre-event, and you can choose if you want to recycle the recordings or not, as well as you can set up a schedule for recording. On the snapshot, we've got similar options. You can select the the different types of image qualities. You can choose the snapshot intervals, the quantities, and as well as setting a schedule for snapshots as well. Okay, so let's dive into the power mode setting. So we have 3 different power modes to choose from. We obviously got full power mode, low power mode, and sleep mode. And it's worth noting that with all 3 options, you'll be able to have all 3 options available on the app to select from as well. So not just on the web GUI. Also, I've embedded the comparison just to remind you of which features are affected depending on which power mode is selected. If you opt for low power mode, well, they actually give you a note to say that in low power mode, parameters such as frequencies of sound and flashing alarms may be changed, which is exactly as part of the what I've shown you, what happens on the graph. And then also you could set up schedule sleep. So you can actually set the camera to sleep at specific times of the day or of the week. You can set that up. So the one thing I want you to notice is under sleep setting, there is a low power sleep option with a tick box, as well as a threshold of low power sleep graph, which you can adjust from 5 to 50. This is indicating the percentage of the battery. And if you enable low power sleep, if the battery hits 32%, the camera will automatically switch to sleep mode. So it doesn't matter if you're in full power mode or if you're in low power mode. If you enable the low power sleep and provide the threshold with a number, once the battery reaches that threshold, it will automatically move to sleep mode. If you put it in sleep mode, naturally these settings become invalid and aren't available to select. Okay, so now we're going into the settings of the active deterrence, audio, and light. So we go to the alarm and we can select audio alarm. And from here, we can choose the warning voice, what we actually want to sound upon activation, how many times it sounds, the volume. And from here, we can add a customized WAV file. So you can go to customize, and now it's going to bring up an option to upload a WAV file with the following criteria. So I created a WAV file, and I'll just go to browse. It takes me into the file directory of my computer. I select the file and I upload it. I give it a name. And once I've uploaded it, I can go back to customize, and my customized WAV file is now there to be used. Okay, with the light alarm, you have the ability to select the duration that the light alarm gets activated for upon an event trigger, as well as the frequency, low, mid, or high. So those familiar with active deterrence cameras, it's a similar feature. This is something new, which you guys haven't seen before, and this is the PIR alarm. So the PIR that's built into the camera can act as a trigger, as I explained on the PowerPoint presentation. And this is where you would enable it, set the alarm holding times, and set the reactions as well. So you can trigger an audio alarm, you can trigger a light, you can trigger recording on the SD card, an email, FTP, and you can also put it on a schedule.
I would like to add, sorry, apologize for barging in, Ari.
No way.
I would like to add that and to make it clear that the PIR alarm is there to be used in sleep mode. Meaning, if the camera is in sleep mode, naturally the DDA is not functioning. The camera is off, basically, and if an object is coming in, the camera is not able to recognize if it's human being or vehicle or whatever. This is why we have the PIR sensor. So if we are in sleep mode, the PIR sensor, which consumes very low voltage from the battery, not like the camera, which is much more, then the PIR will be the one that detects motion, basically, but it can be any kind of motion, right? And this is why the PIR is sensing a motion, waking up the camera, and once the camera is on, automatically it knows to recognize what kind of object it sees because of thanks to the analytics of the DDA, and therefore send alerts if it's a true object that we would like to get notification about. So it is, remember, we are not counting on the PIR to send us alert. We can, like Ari just showed, you can use the PIR sensor itself to send you alerts as well, but it is not advisable because we have a video. We can see the image. We can recognize what object we are seeing. And therefore, the PIR is there mostly to wake up the camera in order to get real notification based on video DDA analytics. Sorry, go on. All right.
Thanks, Ami. Okay, then we moved to analytics. Now we've got item monitoring. Just remember, this is based off Pixel, it's VMD. We can enable it. We can select if we want to see if the object is left or if the object is missing from within the sterile area that we can draw. And I just want you also to note that in terms of the active deterrence, the only trigger available to us is an audio alarm in terms of active deterrence. Okay, and like any sterile area, you can draw your zone. You can have up to 4 zones, and yeah. Next is the AI line crossing. So this is your standard DDA1 line crossing setup. You can enable it. You can choose your object type. You can adjust your sensitivities. Here, notice we've got, from an active deterrence point of view, we've got the option to trigger an audio alarm or the light based off if this rule is broken, as well as obviously triggering recordings to the SD card, emails, and FTP. Okay, setting up the analytic is exactly the same as you would with any of our DDA cameras. You have up to 4 lines or 4 zones, each you can set its direction. So this is not new to most of you guys who are familiar with our DDA. And then obviously you can also set it up on a schedule as well. So same with sterile area. You can enable it with the same detection target options to select what you want to see. And also you've got, from an active deterrence point of view, you've got the audio and light alarm options to trigger as well. And same as the line crossing, you can have up to 4 different areas or zones for sterile area. For sterile area. And obviously you can put it on a schedule as well. Okay, so next we're going to go through to the network. And I just wanted to show you that, this is the standard IPv4 page that you'll see on any of our cameras or any of our IP devices. Okay, but what's different is you'll see there's a wireless dial now. And this is related to the 4G modem. So when you pop in a SIM card, it's going to tell you it's connected to LTE. It's going to tell you the signal intensity. It's going to tell you if it's connected. It's going to provide you with a virtual IP address. Okay. Remember I said to you guys, we can connect to this camera via static IP address through the use of an APN. So you would need to contact your local service provider, whoever you bought the SIM card from, and request a APN and static IP address from them. They most likely will charge you a small monthly fee, but they'll provide you with the username, password, and APN. Once that's inputted into the camera, you can access the camera via static IP address.
But it is, sorry, Ari, naturally no needed. You can use the QR code on the camera and use it for free.
Yeah, just additional options. And I've just highlighted here on the network side, all the ways to connect to the camera is all available on the network. Ultra Report, OnViv, DDNS, RTSP, P2P, etc. All available for you on the network page within the web GUI. And then if you want to disable P2P, you can. You just won't receive any notifications on the app or be able to connect to it via QR code, but the option is there. You can add additional users as well via the web GUI and provide specific, user permissions per user. So there's quite a number of options for you to choose or to limit a user. And just like any NVR or IP camera of ours, if you forget the password, you can set up recovery security questions as well. Okay, so naturally you want to be able to playback footage or search from playback footage as well. So we can go to the search button, and from there we can select if you want to see a video or a snapshot. So you've got the option to select one or the other. And then from there, you can select if you wanted to view the footage from the SD card, external SD card or internal SD card. And from there, it's your usual steps. Choose your date and time, hit search, and then find your events and hit play. Okay, so this is playback. On the bottom left-hand side, you'll have your usual buttons that you can fast play, slow it down, pause it, stop it, put a watermark. Notice the timeline or the time bar. It's got your standard event colors, so all different events recorded in different colors, and you can filter through them as well directly on the web GUI. So now we're looking at just analytic recording events. We can also cut the footage and back it up to your computer as well by clicking the cut button, choosing your start and end points, and then hitting download. And also we can adjust the timeline. So we can so if you only want to see 2 hours of the timeline, 24 hours of the timeline, 1 hour of the timeline, you can select those options on the bottom right. Okay, that's it for the web GUI. I hope you found it interesting, and we're going to move over to the app now. Okay, so like I said, the camera has primarily been designed to work with the app, so it's important to go through this. And we'll start off by just adding a device. So like any normal device you add with Provision ISR, you start by clicking on the top right and adding a device. For this example, I'm actually scanning the back of the camera. So like I said, the QR code is on the back of the camera, and then you can give the device a name so you know what you're logging into, and you can provide the username and password and hit save. And within a few seconds, the system connects. Okay, so now we've got connection. It's important to understand what we can do in terms of device settings. So we're back in our server list, and we can hit the setting button over there. And now we're in the device settings. So we can see the basic information like the camera name, the firmware version, and build date. But this is what excites me the most, is obviously that you can toggle between your power modes. So remember I said you can do this on the app. This is where you would find that setting. You can toggle between all 3 different power modes from within the application. And you can also, if you wanted to, if you needed to, format the SD card directly from the application as well. I'm not going to do it, but the option is available to you as well, directly from the application. And here is called the detection switch. This is where you can actually enable motion detection on and off, PIR on and off, sterile area on and off, line crossing on and off. This is the actual rule. You can either enable it or disable it. So you got the option to interchange between everything directly from the app. That's why I said the web GUI, it's important to set up your analytics there, because you're able to actually toggle them on and off directly on the app itself. And just so you're aware, you can have a combination of 3 analytics or triggers working at the same time. You can obviously have motion detection, the PIR alarm, and either sterile area DDA event or DDA, or line crossing, either one of those 2, which make up the 3. Okay, so this is basically an IP camera. It is an IP camera. So your usual options are available to you on live view as well, like changing your definition. You can also access the image settings and play with those as well. What's new and what's different with this camera is that you're able to access the light, and you're able to actually manually turn on the active deterrence strobe light directly from the app, and obviously turn it off. And you can actually bypass the light entirely. You can actually turn it off entirely, which means that if you've set up active deterrence as a trigger as part of your line crossing, if you disable the flashing light over here, it actually bypasses that light completely. Your event will still happen. You just won't get the visual light occurring on the camera itself. So you've got the ability to shut that down on the app. And similarly with the audio, you can toggle the siren that comes with the camera, or your customized message that you've inputted, and you can bypass the actual entire audio alarm as well. Sorry. So you can access both the audio alarm and visual alarm also by clicking on the bottom 3 dots, and you'll see their audio alarm and flashing light alarm, and you'll get to the same menu that way as well. So you don't have to click on the screen in order to get it. You just click on the 3 dots on the bottom right. Okay, we can also enable the microphone on the onboard microphone on the camera, so obviously to hear what's going on around in the vicinity of the camera. And naturally, you want to be able to have control over what notifications you receive from this camera. So you can go to push notification settings, select the camera, the device. From there, you can enable a push notification or the actual subscription. And from there, you can subscribe to whatever you want to receive from the camera. So you've got 4 options. Same way as you can bypass the analytics, you can bypass the notifications from these analytics or these triggers as well. Okay, and naturally, you're going to be receiving notifications. Let's show you. This is Kirsten Bosch for all the South African viewers out there. Naturally, you want to be able to handle the notifications. So you can click on it. Any notification you receive, it's just familiar to all you guys who use the application. It will take you straight to the event where you've got playback, live view, or you can delete the actual notification, and you can click on playback and it'll take you to the remote playback. From there, you can obviously watch the event, take snapshots, record it, download it, and go from there. So yeah, that's the app in a nutshell. I hope it was quite clear. We've got one last video for you, and that's using the camera with our VMS. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so I want to just highlight adding the device to the VMS. So we go to resource management and we hit add. Now, normally, or a lot of the times, that the device that you want to add will be on your local network, which will appear under quickly add. But there's only 3 or 4 ways to add this device to our VMS. So we're going to go to manually add, and from there we can view all the ways to add our device, like serial number, IP address if you've got a static APN, or domain name. So for this example, I'm just using straight P2P. I'm using the serial number. So I'm going to select serial number. I'm going to put the serial number in along with the password, and I'm going to add it just to agricultural sites, just so you're aware that's where this camera is going to be added on our VMS. Okay, hit OK. I'll go locate the camera and I'll wait for it to come online. It takes a few seconds. Once it comes online, the device name will change. And there you go. And just to double check, I'm going to go to live view, and I want to see that the camera is indeed online. So I'm going to go to the agricultural site, find the camera, which is over there, and drag it. And there's our camera just added to the VMS. Okay, so just like any camera that you add to the VMS, you have the ability to access the device settings. There's no difference with the solar camera. So we can go locate the solar camera under device settings. And then from there, we can do the OSD setting. We can change the camera name. We can configure the image settings. We can play with the stream settings, which you may want to do considering you're using data to bring this into the VMS. You can set privacy mask settings, so you can black out part of the screen in case you need to. You can set up your motion detection areas, as well as you can set up your AI, DDA, line crossing, and sterile area. Notice when you hit enable line crossing, the usual menus come up, the usual options. And from here, you can select up to your 4 lines, your directions, your alarm holding time. You can select your detection target. And here you can select, this is the actual active deterrence element of the camera. You can actually decide if you want the audio alarm to activate or the light to activate based on this rule being broken. So I've set this as the light to alarm based off the rule being broken, just so I'm going to show you that an alarm view coming up, so just for you to remember. And then of course we also got sterile area as well, where you've got the same options. You hit enable, and you've got the same holding time, the detection objects you can choose from, and you can also select your active deterrence elements and have up to 4 zones. So one of the most important parts of the VMS is the alarm linkage. So with the solar camera, you have all the options available to you as well. So we're going to go to the alarm linkage. We're going to select our area. We're going to choose line crossing because that's what I've set up. I'm going to search for the solar camera. I'm going to put it on schedule. I'm going to make sure the schedule's on. So for this specific example, I'm just putting on the schedule, and I'm going to make the alarm view activates and the lights go off based off the rule being broken. So just like any normal IP camera, it works exactly the same. When the rule is broken, our alarm view pops up immediately, and as you can see in the picture, the strobe light has been activated. So that's it in a nutshell. Hope you guys was with me the whole time. I appreciate your attention. Yeah, and looking forward to seeing a lot of these cameras out in the field in the very near future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ari. Thank you for that. And thank you very much for joining. And hope to see you in our next seminars.